145, not Ricky Jones.
Ricky Jones Jr., an early guest on Bluegrass MMA Live back in 2011. Always be a place in my heart for him.
7-4 record, 26 years old, representing E-Town Beatdown. But we're going to get Shawn Nickell out to the cage here first. Drive MMA product, 8-2, making his Hardrock MMA debut. Has actually won titles in a couple of other organizations already in his career. And his fight with Jamal Muhammad last year was, I believe it was nominated for Amateur Fight of the Year. One of the best fights I've seen in a long time. Of course, Nickell coming up short in that fight. And also, Nickell has also competed at 145 in the past.
Yep.
So coming up to 155, a really tall guy, 5'10", has a pretty big frame. So I think 155 might suit him a little bit better here.
Nickell always a game opponent. He's a guy in that Muhammad fight. That was a fight where the tides turned quite frequently. The momentum shifted quite a bit. I think it went to the third round, maybe the fourth round.
Yeah, he got submitted in the third round by an arm bar, which was actually Muhammad kind of pulling guard. And then Nickell just got caught. He transitioned from a triangle to an arm bar. But after a great fight, and then Nickell, to his credit, bouncing back and picking up a triangle choke submission of his own last July over Andrew Yeary. But Nickell has 7 wins by submission out of his 8 wins. So.
Representing E-Town Beatdown from Elizabethtown, Kentucky, Ricky Jones Jr.
Ricky Jones coming off a loss in his last outing. He's taking quite a bit of time off, I believe.
Yeah, he has fought a handful of really tough guys. He fought Lance Lawrence. He fought Robbie Maloff. He fought Chris Myers. Tough group. He has a 7-4 record, still a very impressive record. Actually had a nice hip toss in that fight with Lance Lawrence and seemed to be winning, at least parts of that fight. So,
Josh Johnson in the corner of Ricky Jones Jr. as per usual.
And this fight the winner of this fight, we could see maybe fight Keegan Agnew maybe for that now vacant
tonight.
Hardrock.
Yeah, tonight. One night tournament.
For the now vacant Hardrock lightweight title now with Lance Lawrence turning pro.
Quietly, Josh Johnson is E-Town and Bowling Green Beatdown teams. Probably one of the winningest teams in the state of Kentucky over the last decade or so. One of the early pioneers in Kentucky MMA.
I think this is a fight that a lot of people had pegged maybe as a potential fight of the night.
Ricky Jones Jr. And Kel, your favorite fan, Derek, says hello. And his phone number 502-473.
Shawn Nickell in the black, Ricky Jones Jr. in the bright yellow Hayabusa trunks. John House is your referee for this one.
Touch of gloves, and we are underway. David McKinney in this big lightweight battle.
Southpaw versus southpaw. Interestingly enough, a lot of southpaws actually don't like fighting southpaws just because, just like an orthodox fighter, they're not used to fighting southpaws. But Jones, you'll see him switch his stances a lot. Nickell now looking to try to... He was the one who actually initiated the clinch, but Jones has the pressure up against the cage here in the corner, and the Your Fight corner. One of the great sponsors of Hardrock MMA.
Mm-hmm. Great supporter of local MMA.
Nickell now has those overhooks, trying to turn his back off the cage. Jones, good head position up against the cage here.
Inside knee.
1 minute down here in the first round. Nickell turns off and releases back to the center of the cage here. Straight left hand there from Nickell lands. He's a guy who, watching later on in his career, as Jones shoots for this outside single and Nickell stuffs it. I was going to say Nickell later on in his career has really improved in his striking. Now you see Jones with that third point of contact on the ground, so no knees to the head allowed from this position. They're back in that corner again. And a low knee there from Ricky Jones.
Calls his own low blow and steps away. Shawn Nickell has 5 minutes to recover.
Guys rarely take that entire 5 minutes. I think that a lot of guys don't want to kill the momentum of the fight, and a lot of times it's just the adrenaline, but that's a way to kill some adrenaline real quick there.
Yeah.
Back
Shawn
to the center.
Nickell's looking for that big left hand. Nearly caught it twice. Ooh.
Head kick is blocked. It looks pretty, but not really much damage. Jones the aggressor now in the striking.
Ooh, left hand does land from Shawn Nickell that time.
1-2 combo. Nickell now with the clinch again, looking for the takedown up against the cage. Just 20 seconds left to go here. Gets the single. That may have actually won him the round. A very close round between these two fighters here. In the guard here. 10 seconds left to go. This amateur lightweight battle. Looks like we're going to make it to a round 2.
Very close first round in the books. Shawn Nickell from Drive MMA, Ricky Jones Jr. from E-Town Beatdown. David?
I think that Nickell pulled ahead with that takedown at the end of the round after it was pretty close up until then.
Be sure to upload your pictures.
I think if you're Jones' corner, I think you gotta tell him if you want to fight on the ground, then you got to be the aggressor. You got to get the fight to the ground.
Josh Johnson representing Wu-Tang Jiu-Jitsu. Is that a thing?
It is now.
What you're doing on April 9th at the Expo in Louisville.
April 9th, Hardrock MMA returns right here on CageCaster.com from the beautiful, historic Expo 5 in Louisville, Kentucky.
Seems like Hardrock has a nice little setup. You know, going to Bowling Green a couple times a year.
That's next month.
Coming here to Paracat, and then also Expo 5. So nice little.
I guess April 9th's next, then another April date for Bowling Green.
I think it's the end of April for Bowling Green.
That's
you can follow Hardrock MMA on Facebook. One of the very few local promoters. Great job keeping up with their card. Doing a great job of letting everybody know exactly when and where, who's fighting, so you don't come to the event and have too many surprises. Start at round number 2 here between these two lightweights. Shawn Nickell in the black, Ricky Jones in the yellow.
We are in a packed house here at Paracat Springs as the action begins.
Yeah, standing room only here.
Looks like standing room preferably for a lot of people.
Nickell ends a 1-2 combo inside here.
Shawn Nickell great on the circle.
That was the clinch inside. Jones again. This seems like almost a mirror of the first round.
Drops for the double leg. Decides to go against it. Jones with his back against the cage now.
Nickell looking to get his second takedown of the fight. Switching to a single here.
Josh Johnson calls for the big sprawl. Doesn't quite work out as Jones finds himself on his back. Nickell in control.
Good job turning the corner on that short little takedown by Shawn Nickell. Jones now opening up his guard. Maybe looking for a submission off of his back. As we approach the midway point of this fight. Shawn Nickell throwing a couple of strikes to the body there. Not a ton of action here on the ground. Neither guy really looking to advance their position. Nickell throwing just a couple of shots to the body, and Jones just trying to control the posture of Nickell. Nickell working on the inside. Throwing some just little short, little rabbit punches. Nothing too strong here.
Scoring points with the judges nonetheless.
Just trying to stay active. Looks like Jones may be trying to throw up a triangle or an arm bar there. Nickell doing a good job keeping his hips heavy. Good wide base here. He has him up against the cage. This is usually not a position where you want to be on your back with your head stuffed into the cage.
Shawn Nickell controlling most of the action here with just over 30 seconds left.
Nice little left hand over the top there from Nickell.
Somebody's lost a mouthpiece.
Looks like it might be Nickell's mouthpiece that might be out.
Ricky Jones.
Jones is trying to pull down the head of Shawn Nickell. Didn't even stop the action. Did John House puts the mouthpiece of Ricky Jones back in.
Here you go, buddy.
You might need this. And another good round here by Shawn Nickell. Is on my scorecard. He moves up 2 rounds to none. And if you're in Ricky Jones' corner, you got to be thinking, what can we do? We know we have to get a finish here. And I think if you're Shawn Nickell's corner, you might say more of the same here in the 3rd round.
Absolutely. Don't vary from the game plan here. Maybe try to be a smidge more active on the ground so you don't get a stand up in the 3rd round, but we'll see how it goes. Gary Thomas here with David McKinney. Our last amateur fight of the night here, Hardrock MMA 77. 4 pro fights on tap, including the monster fight everybody's here for, Brian Kerr versus Lance Lawrence, the professional debut of Lance Lawrence.
And just a reminder, do not go away after this fight. We do have pro fights on tap, but no intermission in between the amateur and pro fights.
No, we're rolling right into it with David Crow and Dusty Stingle after this fight. 3 minutes remain in this fight. Shawn Nickell.
Interesting that he has actually sitting on his stool and has his legs elevated here in between rounds.
Ricky Jones jumping up and down. Ready to get this final round underway.
His corner almost forgets the ice bag. Don't let Joe Rogan know about that.
Ooh, and final round.
Start of round number 3 here.
Jones Jr.
Good lightweight battle.
We'll see if Ricky Jones picks up the pace here.
Yeah, he's going to need to if he wants to win this fight.
Shawn Nickell, mirror image of how round number 2 went, circling Ricky Jones Jr.
Jones now stalking. Nickell lands a nice little left hand over the top.
The crowd calls for a knee.
Nickell looking for that takedown. Again, looking for that single leg. He was able to get it in the 1st round. Jones trying to take the back, though, of Nickell. Nickell tries to finish the takedown.
Very interesting position
May
there.
have the arm here. And
Shawn Nickell taps. Shawn Nickell tapped, but the referee was not positioned to see it.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if that was a tap or if that was just him trying to readjust.
I don't know.
Nickell, nevertheless, now on the back of Ricky Jones Jr., now in half guard on top.
Wow. Am I wrong? Am I off there?
Jones doesn't really, I mean, I saw something there, but Jones doesn't really seem to be complaining. Nickell now on top again here. Looking to do more of the same. Take home the decision here. Couple of shots to the head from Shawn Nickell.
Ricky Jones hoping for a stand-up here, hoping to get in position for a submission.
Yeah, he's going to need to sweep here. maybe he was looking for the little elevator sweep, unable to get it. That was a half butterfly guard, does Ricky Jones.
Approaching 1 minute remaining in the final round here as Shawn Nickell.
And smart cage awareness by Shawn Nickell, putting Jones in the corner. Really difficult to hit a sweep off of your back if your head is on the cage. Nickell staying heavy on top. Under a minute to go now here in the third round as Jones again looks for that arm bar. Nickell brushes him off. Still on top here.
Less than a minute to go here, about 45 seconds in the third round. Shawn Nickell cruising in this third round. Ricky's been active from his back, but it's really hard to score with the judges when you're on your back.
Yeah, he's now really just looks like he's just trying to control the posture of Shawn Nickell, maybe looking for a stand-up here.
Jonathan House looks in on the action.
And Nickell really not doing too much now as soon as I say that, he throws a couple of shots.
10 seconds remain. Now.
Nickell postures up, throws a couple of shots here. Jones back to his feet here for the final few seconds. Into the fight.
That's it. We go to the judges' scorecards.
Should be a unanimous victory for Shawn Nickell. Great performance by both guys. Shawn Nickell, very dominating. Jones didn't take a lot of punishment, but he's just in some positions he couldn't get out of.
Exactly, yeah. That was a good performance by Shawn Nickell, showing off some of his wrestling and top control.
And Ricky Jones Jr. Also, while we're waiting for the judges' scorecards, this is our admin right here for judges' hands, Wendy and Bob.
And I did post my score from judges' hands on Twitter.
23 years of marriage tomorrow.
Trying to get that T-shirt, are you?
That's Bob. That rocks.
Guys, if you're just joining us, cagecaster.com. Getting ready to start our pro fights of the night after we get this decision here.
All right, folks. After 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecard, and all 3 judges for the bout. 29-28 for the winner by unanimous decision. The red corner shot, Nickell.
Nickell taking scores of 29-28 on all 3 judges. I thought that Nickell won all 3 rounds. The first round was pretty close, but I thought that Nickell was able to steal it at the end there.